You're listening to Festival Grasp,
a podcast diving into the business and culture of the music festival world.
Well, welcome everybody to the newscast in this week's edition. Strawberry Fields announces its return in 2021. Stay sound and check yourself. New book explores mental health crisis amongst music industry professionals. Tomorrowland helped design a roller coaster in Belgium. Seismic dance event in Austin, Texas leaks 2021 lineup. Golden Voice in talks with Riverside County on setting up mass vaccination sites. But first, music festivals continue to get pushed back as COVID spikes. Despite our high hopes, major music festivals continue to get postponed and canceled in 2021. The most recent one is BPM Festival in Costa Rica. It has canceled its 2021 dates following its other canceled event in Malta. Now, the new dates for the Costa Rica BPM, which had been previously in early March, are rescheduled to January 12th to 18th in 2022. Unfortunately, event organizers could not get the Costa Rican government's clearance. They had hoped to operate at 100% this year, but the COVID-19 situation continues to remain dire. Organizers want to make sure that they're delivering the best quality performances and production for attendees. Current ticket holders who wish to keep their tickets can use them for 2022. Those loyalties will actually come in handy with the free upgrades they're offering, and anyone wishing for a refund can do so via their X-Tickets site. And you have until January 25th to apply for that refund. Costa Rica is one of the countries that did remain open throughout 2020. They did briefly close, I believe, in March of 2020, but they generally stayed open for the remainder of the year. And I think they're just being cautious here in terms of having a mass influx of tourists. As well, the Governor's Ball in New York City has been pushed back to September 24th to 26th. Organizers say they are working closely with the city and state authorities to ensure a safe experience for attendees. Their lineup has yet to be announced, and ticketing and refund info can be found at govball.com. But the big one I have my eyes on is Coachella. As it stands, Coachella Music and Arts Festival is still scheduled for April 9th to 11th, and their second weekend of April 16th to 18th of this spring, with other large gatherings, including Stagecoach Music Festival and the Dinah Festival following suit in Palm Springs with spring dates as well. However, a recent interview with Palm Springs Mayor Christy Holstage reveals the city does not have any plans to host large-scale events until at least the fall of 2021. In a quote, "We've been focused on, making sure that everyone's wearing masks and enforcing that as much as possible, really so that we can keep our residents safe and have a bright future in a few months when we can reopen." Halstage said in her interview, "We're hoping that these events will be rescheduled to the fall of this year." She mentions of the 3 festivals in particular that are scheduled to occur in the spring, as aforementioned. Now, rumors of a postponed Coachella had been floating since October 2020, when sources close to the event's promoters, AGE and Golden Voice, told Rolling Stone magazine that the festival would be 100% moving, likely to the first week of October. As of this week, that timeline does make sense, considering that Dr. Anthony Fauci projected performing arts venues could reopen right around that time. During a conference held by the Association of Performing Arts Professionals on January 9th, Dr. Fauci shared that concerts can potentially return based on the assumption that 70 to 85% of the population receives vaccines. He said, "If everything goes right, this will occur sometime in the fall of 2021, so that by the time we get to early to mid-fall, you can have people feel safe performing on stage as well as people in the audience." In addition to this news, Dr. Fauci disclosed that venues can be back to almost full capacity seating if ventilation quality and proper air filters are implemented along with mask requirements. He referenced a German study that was conducted during an indoor concert that showed results of low to very low risk of COVID-19 spread. This was due to proper ventilation, hygiene guidelines, and capacity standards. Although there has been a slight setback on vaccine distributions as they have fallen behind schedule, Dr. Fauci assures that concerts can still return at this time. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it does seem like festival season will be dependent on how the vaccine rollout is handled over the next few months. It has been slow the world over. I think this is a situation where the beginning of the phases of the rollout are difficult because of logistics and communication between federal and state levels, especially in the United States. But as those systems start to get a bit of a move on, I can see this picking up speed and being executed much more efficiently towards spring, early summer, late summer, and then rolling into fall. Now, if that's the best case scenario, we could anticipate more delays. Resistance to people wanting to get vaccinated is one. And then different states have different guidelines. If a particular state is facing hesitancy to large-scale non-essential events. At the end of the day, you need as a festival to get permits, and then you need to make sure that those traveling to your festival are going to be able to make it. Traveling within the United States might not be a huge issue, but of course, these festivals do draw a huge international crowd. And if you're not allowed to fly to the festival, if you're coming from Europe or anywhere else in the world, then, maybe the attendance will be a lot lower. But we'll see. I do think, obviously, that as soon as festivals are legitimately allowed to return, there will be an explosion. People will want to get out and dance. Now, in what normally would be crunch time leading up to the famous Coachella Valley Music and Arts Festival, Golden Voice, the promoter for both Coachella and Stagecoach, is currently in talks with Riverside County to set up a mass vaccination site for the coronavirus disease. Riverside County is the usual venue for the two-weekend Coachella Festival, as well as the Stagecoach Festival in Palm Springs. Golden Voice are no strangers to large-scale events, so their expertise could be of use to the county in order to put together a venue for mass crowds, especially since this one will require social distancing measures. Now, since vaccination rollout is the question in terms of can we get to the proper vaccination percentage of the population by the fall so that events can start happening, collaboration with companies such as Golden Voice could help accelerate the process. Riverside County Supervisor Manuel Perez said of the company, "We know what they can do with concerts, all the logistics and the planning that takes place, and that Golden Voice is willing to be helpful and supportive to aid in the county vaccine rollout process." In my opinion, this is really important. I do think that there needs to be collaboration between these large-scale mass event production companies and the medical industry in order to make sure that this rollout of the vaccine does get efficiently accomplished, because livelihoods are at stake here. And if the situation holding back vaccination is, in fact, having sites like these that can be properly managed, then I'm all for it. And I think it would be very, very wise for the medical industry and the federal government to put a little bit more emphasis and backing into this process. Seismic Dance Event leaks 2021 lineup with Charlotte DeWitt and more. So Seismic Dance Event in Austin, Texas has leaked their 2021 lineup today. Once you see it, you will know it's a triumphant return. Now, the festival will take place from May 21st to 23rd in Austin, Texas, and this is their third edition, but the first in the spring series. On the website, it describes Seismic Dance Event as an intimate boutique-sized gathering unique to the southern U.S. An impeccable crowd and thick vibes await you. Seismic Dance also features two main stages called Volcano and Tsunami, with indoor and outdoor experiences. Indulge in over 30 artists with the Real M area world-class production, art installation, and food trucks. And we will link the article in the show notes so you can visit their website if you are interested. Now, Texas itself, again, as I mentioned earlier, has the right to run festivals, even though COVID may be spreading or not spreading there. Again, it is a state-by-state decision and also county by county or city by city in terms of the permits. So, it's kind of like, no pun intended, but the wild, wild west in terms of when festivals will return when we consider particular locations. Mandates could come down from federal governments, such as they do in the UK, where what Parliament decides there does reverberate throughout the entire country. But in terms of the United States, policies that come down from the federal government, they're not really controlling whether large-scale events can go on in the individual states. If Texas does decide to have this event, then there could be one happening, and we'll see. We'll stay tuned with that. Mind you, Austin is also home of South by Southwest, and that has been postponed. They did that very early in the fall of last year. They knew that they weren't going to go forward with it. They are now going to be rolling out a lineup for their online version of South by Southwest. So that is very interesting. Now, that festival does happen in early March, and this one is in late May. So there is about, a 2-month swing there. However, I'd be very surprised if we don't hear an update for this seismic dance event, and that it may indeed get postponed as well.
Be sure to keep tuning in weekly for our music festival newscast and subscribe to our Deep Dives, our monthly in-depth topical discussion show with interviews and guests that will bring you insight and knowledge. Link in the show notes.
Strawberry Fields has announced it's returning to the banks of the Murray River in Tecumseh, New South Wales, Australia this coming October. Now, festival director Tara Benny said in a statement, "We want to bring back the strawberry you remember. Diverse live music, dancing, the bush spa, swimming, art, workshops, and boundary-pushing sustainability initiatives. But let's not ignore the elephant in the room. The world has changed a little since our last dance. We will be doing everything within our power to plan our most fantastic festival to date, and we'll stay in close contact with planning authorities on how to do that. We will keep you informed as much as possible and will not go forward with an event which doesn't stay true to our roots." Now, offering a range of tickets for their community, including their low-income ticket program for those who are socially or economically disadvantaged, and the birthday ticket program for those whose birthday falls on the festival dates, Strawberry Fields are doing all they can to ensure that they're looking out for their community. This year, they also take that one step further by using Humanitix to donate all the booking fees to programs aimed at closing the education gap globally. Benny also stated, "If we are forced to cancel due to COVID-19, we will reschedule the festival. Tickets will roll to those new dates. If you cannot make those dates, we will guarantee a 90% refund of your ticket. The 10% you don't get back will be a COVID-19 cancellation fee to cover the considerable cost of planning and building a fine festival all year long. We have introduced this policy because insurance companies refuse to provide cover for COVID-19 cancellations. So if you want your favorite music and arts camping festival to return, we need your support to make it happen. As a small collectible token of thanks, we will be giving every ticket holder a limited edition badge showing you voted for music and arts in 2021. I think this is a great idea and an amazing way to handle their ticketing policy here by Strawberry Fields Festival in Australia. Last year, it caught a lot of people by surprise. A lot of festivals were flat-footed and did not know how to handle their ticketing policy. We did discuss insurance companies. There's been a call all over the world with live music events, including festivals, in regards to gaining government support to underwrite the insurance part of the festival should it be canceled by COVID-19. And so far, the governments have been very reluctant to do so. What I think Strawberry Fields is getting right is that they're really educating their ticket holders as to how they plan on using the funds. But it also shows that they understand that they have a connection to their ticket holders, which needs to be nurtured. So I'm very impressed so far by what I know here of Strawberry Fields Festival in Australia, and I would certainly enjoy going down there. If you ever have a chance, please, please, please do go travel to Australia. I know the ticket price is expensive. However, if that is a trip you will undertake from anywhere in the Northern Hemisphere, I think it's very worthwhile to time it with one of these festivals, and Strawberry Fields might be a great choice for you. Would you like to be on the show? If you or someone you know is a journalist with a relevant article topic or can speak to a story we have covered, please click or forward the guest sign-up link in the show notes. We'd love to have you on. Don't be shy.
Like what you hear so far? Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support.
Tomorrowland helped design a roller coaster in Belgium. So it seems that Tomorrowland fans will have a chance to experience the wonderful festival in more ways than one. There will be a special roller coaster ride dedicated to the well-renowned event with plans to open this summer in Europe. Plopsaland de Pan, a theme park in Belgium, will welcome guests with the Ride to Happiness by Tomorrowland. It will be the first extreme spinning coaster in Europe. The ride is expected to have a wide variety of features that will blow the minds of roller coaster lovers. It is expected to go at least 56 miles per hour with 2 launches, rotating carriages, and 5 inversions. Now, I'm not a big roller coaster fan. I think it's quite frightening. However, I would go if I were to make it over to Tomorrowland in person in Belgium at some point in the near future or in the long-term future when the festival does return. And if I am with a group of people who are adventurous, which I may very well be, I will definitely maybe say yes. And finally, Stay Sound and Check Yourself is a new book that explores mental health crisis amongst music industry professionals. Featuring interviews with 15 veterans of the European scene, the book dives into their shared struggles of depression and anxiety while providing resources and solutions. It's no secret that the lives of music artists often come riddled with mental health struggles, born from the multiplicity of stressors that come from the life of a touring public figure under constant scrutiny. But what about the experiences of those who work behind the scenes, such as managers, publicists, bookers, and touring teams? Out on January 14th, Stay Sound and Check Yourself is a new book by Holliger Jan Schmidt, an insider who heads the sustainability-focused Green Events Europe organization, and with psychologist Professor Dr. Kaja Herrenberg, shining a long overdue light on the mental health crisis of the European music industry's essential employees through extensive interviews and background research. The project is wide-ranging and comprehensive, featuring 15 subjects who vary in age, gender, region, and position expertise. For every Avicii or Keith Flint, there are 1,000 promoters or cable guys who have a similar problem, one interviewee said. The passion and the burnout go hand in hand, another one added. These testaments, recorded both pre-pandemic and in June of 2020, tell a complete story of the depression and anxiety nearly all of them have faced, especially with COVID-19's added hurdles. Their experiences are interwoven with suggestions for prevention and intervention, providing guidelines for self-care, prepping industry hopefuls for the realities of the job, and underscoring opportunities for productive change. Stay Sound and Check Yourself is currently available for pre-order from European bookstores, which are sorted by country in the link we have in the show notes. 100% of the proceeds are designated for mental health visibility, prevention, and intervention projects. I think it's quite amazing here that we often don't consider the mental health of the industry's professionals. They do have a very odd job in terms of the perception that all their life is golden, that they have it set, that all they do is have fun. But there is a lot of stress and there is a lot of potential pitfalls for the DJs, the music producers, and those that go on tour, both from an electronic music point of view and, of course, a live music point of view. And oftentimes, what really surprises me is that we don't think about all the other people that are involved in that process, all the people behind the stages, all the people that set things up, all those that are in charge of pushing the careers of these artists forward. We don't often think that those people may have issues with mental health. But in terms of the industry itself, it is an industry that does have its fair share of problems. And we can't always assume that just because it's fun and people look like they're always having a good time, that that is actually the reality that they're living. Just remember, COVID-19 and this pandemic has encouraged us to socially distance, but that's only physically. It doesn't mean that you can't connect with people virtually and show them that you care. There are lots of ways to show people that you care, and one of them is to share in their experiences and to allow them to be vulnerable with you and provide them the support that they need. Remember, these are two-way streets. If someone needs your support one day, they are the kind of person that hopefully will be there for you when you need the support. We're not always in our strongest forms. We have our weak moments, and it's important to know that when we do, that there is someone there that can help us. One of the other things I really like about this book that has come out is that I find it very eye-opening to be able to read the experiences of others, especially when it dispels assumptions that I may have had about how their lives actually are. We fill in gaps all the time. We judge, and often incorrectly, the lives of other people. And I think taking the time to get to know how other people are experiencing the world is truly important, no matter what industry that they are in. Stay healthy, stay happy, stay safe, and make sure you reach out to people and keep conversations happening. Well, thanks everyone for joining us on another week's Festival Grasp.
Make sure to subscribe on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, or via your chosen podcast collector, so you'll never miss us talking into your ears again.
And while you're at it, if you find value in what we are discussing, rate us on Apple Podcasts. It's like telling a friend about it, but better. And it gives us a chance in that big old world out there. I know we're just getting to know each other, but come on, show us some love.
We're here for you, you're here for us, so let's do this thing. To sign up as an expert guest on the show, to leave us a question or message, or to jar tip your support, follow the appropriate links in the show notes.
Be sure to keep tuning in weekly for our Music Festival newscast and subscribe to Deep Dives, our monthly in-depth topical discussion show with interviews and guests that will bring you insight and knowledge. Link in the show notes. This podcast edited by GBA Recordings. For me, Mario.
And Shanae.
See you next time.
Bye.